help contractors by the hundreds with all of the administrative burdens that surround handling their construction projects. That means helping them with exact estimating, working with them on all the administration of their supplements, and doing the administrative services back office work that enables them to focus on selling, building, and billing.
We see contractors just starting off, maybe they're struggling with the fundamentals of running a construction business. They partner up with us, their process is now defined, they're able to grow their profit margins and actually scale because they're not held back with the burden of dealing with the supplementing process. I feel proud of what we've been able to do in this industry.
This is Larry Bache with the Merlin Law Group, helping policyholders for more than 30 years. If you have a claim or your client has a claim that needs help, please feel free to call the Merlin Law Group because we are the true policyholder advocate.
C3 was eager to help us, and even whenever we weren't giving them work, they were still eager to give advice. The things that they were putting out for the pertaining from DMO to RFG and giving that to the industry and not charging anything for it, I thought was really cool. And that's stuff that I as a contractor appreciate. I'd recommend C3 to any contractor who's looking for a PA, especially if you're around Colorado. Great guys, man. I'm nothing but happy with the work they've done for us.
Happy Friday, everyone. Lead meteorologist John Choquette here for our daily hail forecast, sponsored as always by C3 Group, Merlin Law Group, and Are the Supplement and Balance Claims. So we have a lot to talk about today. We had quite a bit of activity yesterday, and this entire morning I've pretty much been mulling over the DFW area and their chances for hail today. We're going to kind of go into it probably a little bit more in depth than what we usually do. It's a pretty interesting setup, so we're going to get into that. But first, let's just go over our weather headlines. And of course, the top thing is we had another 5-star kind of day. We had one day before yesterday, and yesterday we had a surprise little storm form pretty much on top of the city of San Angelo, Texas, where they saw upwards of 45 minutes of hail. Pretty intense 5-star map there. Looks like we have like I mentioned, a complicated forecast in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. Could they join in on the big hail in Texas fun from this week? It's possible, though. Again, it's complicated, so we're going to get into it a little bit there. And our next episode of our 10-year celebration is going to be tonight, barring we don't have big storms happening at the time. So Matt Grassmeyer's episode of the Hail Trace 10-year look back will be tonight at 6:45, unless of course we have big storms going on. Then chances are that will not be airing live and it'll be pushed back to a separate date. But it'll be on our normal platforms here on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, all that stuff. Again, assuming there aren't big storms later on. But there could be some big storms, so we're going to go over that in a second. So first, let's just recap the 5-star map from last night. San Angelo, Abilene, Texas, and Douglasville, Texas. Whoops, accidentally hit the table there. And the biggest reason why it's a 5-star was going to be San Angelo. Abilene, you had some storms in the far western sections of town, but we had 4-inch hail. So we had a 45-minute hail time with hail sizes ranging from golf ball to softball size across San Angelo, and that's why even with only 32,000 homes impacted, that made it a 5-star map. Here are just a few pictures. Again, there was a lot of hail with this, and the damage photo there. Not only is the car back window blown out, but you can see a big old hole in actually the house window as well. I mean, you can even see, I think those are impact marks on the brick there as well. So a pretty impressive storm, crazy little storm that happened last night. And also, we can't forget, this would have been the big story had San Angelo not happened. We had a 3-star map in the Orlando area yesterday. Sanford, Orlando, Port St. Lucie, Florida. We had 3-inch hail in Sanford, Florida, which is pretty crazy. A lot of 2-inch hail with it as well. 48,000 homes impacted. And this is what you're looking at here. Funky looking little hailstones. Kind of crazy. I mean, you don't usually see hail upwards of tennis ball size across Florida, so you can go check that out. And it's a 3-star map. It was a pretty confined area with a really big hail, but interesting nonetheless. A pretty crazy little storm. Florida doesn't typically see hail this large, so go check that out as well. So this is the forecast for today. And you can see here we got the most significant zone, and yeah, that's a moderate chance there for DFW with all the colors on there. So could see some real big hail today, assuming storms actually happen. What I've been watching just the past couple hours, watching satellite, trying to see where everything's setting up, and it's starting to look a little bit more favorable here for the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. We also have a chance for some hail across portions of northern Georgia and into the Carolinas as well. You have a storm happening right now that had quarter to $half size hail in the northern section of the Atlanta metro. I think near Cumming, Georgia, we had around quarter size hail not too long ago. And a chance for some hail even over by Charlotte and South Carolina, North Carolina. But the big story is the potential for some pretty big hail across Dallas. So before I break it down a little bit further, I'm actually going to kind of switch things up a little bit here. So just give me a second, where I'm going to show you guys what we're looking at in terms of satellites. So this is one of the things we look at. It shows all the observations, all the radar, satellite, all that good stuff. And it looks like right now we're watching what we call outflow boundaries. So basically what they are is more or less a little track for like a storm to fire off of. You can see it's pretty clear. You can follow my mouse, like the big old arc here going across Dallas, extending basically from just south of Jacksboro down through about the I-20 area, and then curving back up to the north near Dallas. And then we have the other more intense looking outflow boundary up to the north as well. So we have two boundaries that we're watching. This one continues to push to the south, but albeit a little bit slower. And then off to the north here, we have another boundary where it was a little more significant, where you're killing the temperatures. The temperature's a little less, the dew points are less. So basically the whole point of all this is, where does this stall out? And that is what's going to trigger some storms. So what we see here is basically this boundary has stalled entirely right by Bonham and just north of Denton. And then this over here in the Dallas area is also slowing down quite a bit. So what that does is it sets the stage for a very unstable environment for later on this afternoon, where we could see some very intense storms form in the evening hours, and that could produce some very large hail. It's very unstable here in Dallas. It's very similar to the setup we had last Friday, except the difference is the boundaries have kind of stalled, and when they stall, we're able to get storms to actually form. So I'm going to switch back into the forecast. We'll continue. We'll do that city breakdown here in just a second. Somebody asked what time in Dallas, so let me get that going in here. And there you go. City forecast for DFW between about 5 and 9 is what I'm expecting. So storms could fire anytime after 5 o'clock in and around Dallas, possibly to the west of Dallas as well. Could see maximum hail size could be upwards of 3 inches in diameter. Could be some big time hail if this actually happens. With that moderate chance for at least 1 inch hail. But I'm keeping it moderate to low at the moment. This is kind of a continually evolving situation. Just from the last hour, I pushed really hard to I actually did today's forecast after I did everything else, because I wanted to see if that boundary was going to slow down, and it did. It slowed down. It seems to be stalling out right across the DFW Metroplex, which again sets the stage for the potential for some pretty intense development later on this afternoon. Now, tornado chances probably won't be super high across Dallas. I think it would have to be pretty conditional for that, but the hail chances, if any of this stuff does form, would have some very large hail with it. Again, that maximum size of 3 inch hail, and then again that moderate chance right now. If there's anything, if the chances go up, I'll try to at least just do a Facebook post or something on our Hail Trace page, so you guys kind of have the heads up. And of course, we'll go live with anything crazy that happens. So just keep doing those hail dances, guys. Maybe we can get something crazy in Dallas. And we can't forget the East Coast. We do have a chance here across Charlotte, North Carolina, between 5 and 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Nothing like what we've been seeing in the Southern Plains today. Up to ping pong ball size hail is possible. And then lower chances of storms. There's just a few storms going to be forming there. Now, we're going to that future radar, and I know it's not going to show things necessarily. It's going to show a lot of storms probably in Oklahoma. Problem is the HRRR, so this is the model that we use. The high resolution rapid refresh model has done very poorly so far today. It is seriously underestimated the rain that's happened and where the boundary is. It's currently thinking that the boundary is along the Red River, possibly even a little bit north of it, and the boundary is actually in Dallas. So everything's going to be shifting further to the south than we're saying. So I think, fortunately, you can only take this with a bit of a grain of salt. But regardless, storms are definitely going to form later on today. They'll probably be pretty slow movers as well. So if they form right over Dallas, could be hailing for a while. And then over here on the East Coast, you can see some storms forming across South Carolina and portions of North Carolina in the evening hours. Those could have, again, quarter to maybe some ping pong ball size hail. And also the fact that we do have a storm. I don't know what it's looking like right now. I'm not looking at the radar at the moment, but we do have a storm currently ongoing across the North Atlanta suburbs as well. So going into your Saturday, so starting off that weekend here, we have a chance for some hail across a pretty large section of the country. Moderate chance for Rapid City, could see some hail upwards of tennis ball size. Looks like we're going to see activity up and down the dry line, basically from South Dakota all the way down to the Mexico border in Texas. So anywhere from Lubbock, Odessa, up to maybe Dodge City, and then parts of western Nebraska, all have that chance of seeing upwards of tennis ball size hail. Chances are a little bit lower further to the south as storms become more isolated. And outside chance in the overnight hours, we have some storms meander over to Omaha, albeit much weaker than when they initially form over in western Nebraska. And we also, I'm kind of keeping an eye on the potential for some storms in the general Chicago area. We could see potentially some supercells there. Pretty conditional risk right now, and I think the instability won't be high enough for anything much more than marginally severe hail at the moment. We're watching that super carefully to see if that turns into anything more interesting going into your Saturday. So future radar for this, we're going to kind of start up by the Canadian border and work our way down across the Great Plains here. You see those storms forming in the afternoon and evening hours. Pretty numerous across South Dakota and into Nebraska. So storms will probably likely form off the Black Hills close to Rapid City. Could see some big hail there. Shifting further south to the Central Plains, we could have a couple storms forming. I think it's going to be a little more isolated, especially in Kansas, where you might mix out entirely, but you're going to see some storms form also as well in Texas, where again places like Lubbock, Odessa, maybe even Amarillo could see some storms across the area for tomorrow. And then finally, the future radar here in the Great Lakes showing some possibly isolated storms across Illinois and into Indiana for tomorrow. We're watching this super carefully. Again, if there's a wild card for Saturday, it's definitely going to be the Chicago area. So that's all I got for the forecast today. I don't have anything too extended at the moment. Again, we're really trying to zero in on the potential for Dallas today. So keep an eye on our Facebook page, our YouTube, wherever you follow us from. You can check us out, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow Facebook page, hit see first. Might have an update of graphic or something a little bit later if things are starting to trend up more than what we're seeing right now. I'd say compared to what, if you had asked me at 10 a.m. and then asked me compared to like right now, I think chances have trended upwards for the DFW Metroplex, putting me at a 50-50 shot at the moment versus before I was like, yeah, today's trash. So looking very rather interesting. I know a lot of folks are pretty excited to maybe have some storms in Dallas and do those hail dances. Keep an eye out. If we send out that notification, we got a big storm coming. That could be super exciting. Give us a call here, 855-334-4245. Info at hailtrace.com if you don't like talking on the phone, or visit our website, hailtrace.com, for more details as well. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Keep an eye on our page today. We will be trying to update it throughout the rest of the afternoon, and of course go live if anything crazy does happen. And if I don't see you, have a great Memorial Day weekend. We will be back tomorrow with a forecast video as regularly scheduled, but I know a lot of folks are going to go out to the lake or whatever. So if I don't see you, have a great weekend. If not, thanks for watching. We'll see you again hopefully a little later on today for some live coverage. Do those hail dances, guys. I'll talk to you later.